Hi, God bless y'all. I just want to bring my reaction on something on some podcast that I recently watched. It was about this famous Puerto Rican artist. I guess you may know, but from the thumbnail. But as he was talking, he was like, well, talking about, his life, his career and stuff, the usual that you would ask about an artist. But specifically, there was one of them that were there interviewing him. They were like, so what do you think about the ministers? And he was like, well, I believe that anyone who believes in God doesn't specifically have to just be ministers, and I agree with him in that. It's something that is very true. And he also mentioned that in one of his songs, he was talking about how there's some people, or at least he experienced how many ministers weren't really walking the way Christ did, or behaving or acting in the way that a Christian should. So a little background on why Puerto Rico is very important to a lot of these artists, urban artists, Christian artists, or secular artists, is because in Puerto Rico there was this evangelist called Guy Avila, Hispanic speaking person, Puerto Rican, Boricua, where he was evangelizing. There was this big revival that happened in the 1900s, and he was very famously known. A lot of people converted. This whole generation was very impacted. All Puerto Rico ended up being Christ-centered. And then with the time, people just took it as another religion, but it was widely known. A lot of churches, a lot of people. So a lot of this generation ended up teaching their children about God and stuff, Christian things. And as this artist was explaining, he was like, my respect to all religions, because my mom is also Christian. I was like, oh, I didn't know this about this artist. And I'm like, wow, that's crazy. But it's just the fact that even though he might be singing for the world, worldly stuff, but he recognizes that he has a parent, a mother that taught him about Jesus, about the Christian stuff. And he even mentioned that I think in some past interview or something, that he was explaining that he was also part of this choral group at church, so he had some connection to the Christian world and stuff. So my advice is we have to really be careful with what we say, what we do, because it's gonna impact the kids, the people around us, and that might also even impact the decision if they really want to accept Christ or walk with Christ and in everything. So have this in mind, and God bless.